Hey guys, it's Lori. So, like in the video I was going to do yesterday, have you had to deal with, or have you realized through this recent energy shift that there are um, maybe some self centered people or arrogant or narcissistic people in your life, or maybe you've discovered some soul wounds that you weren't aware that you had? That's what I want to talk about today. How to deal with that. How to rise up and deal with that kind of stuff or deal with the pains that have surfaced or that kind of thing. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, with the energy we're in now, as I've been saying over the months, and it's really kind of peaked right now. And aside from the pandemic, I know we got the pandemic thing going on. We got stay at home or shelter in place orders and that kind of stuff. And a lot of places are closed. A lot of people's schedules have rearranged. But that I think is only added to the energy. So while this is all going on, we have the energy that is dropping masks and bringing up soul wounds, old memories, things that you may have thought were a thing of the past and you've gotten over. You may have even gone to therapy for, whatever, and they resurface again. And a lot of times you can go to therapy for something. I'm not going to get stuck on this, but I mean, if you're curious about soul wounds, look through my videos. But you can go to therapy for something. You can feel really emotionally healed from it, and still, it's touched you at such a spiritual level that it's created such a deep wound that it's still there. So technically, yes, emotionally you have let it go, done whatever you needed to do, but spiritually it's still inside your aura. Another thing could be something that happened um, you know, between while you're in utero or the first six or 7 years. It's a really crucial time. I was watching this video just as a side note the other day. I was listening to this doctor, and I already knew that, our subconscious and our spirit is truly affected as a child. Um, that he was saying that, he was talking about extreme abuse and what happens. And I want to do a video on that too. Not of the abuse, but just I was thinking of doing this video for a while anyway, about how we can, a lot of people will actually split and have like split personalities if they're involved or the victim of really disgusting abuse and stuff like that. But have you ever like felt your spirit leap from you? That's another video I want to do. Total side note, didn't mean to get off on that, but yeah, that's an interesting thing when that happens. I'm not talking about dissociative disorder. I'm talking about like actually remembering your spirit detaching from you or whatever. But anyhow, he was talking about how, from birth to like 3 or 4 years old, and it just brought me to my own situation right now where I was hurt more deeply last year than I have been hurt the last time. It brought back a memory for me, a crisis situation for me, um, from I think it was 9 or 10 years ago, roughly. Could have been longer than that. Um, I don't know. I'd have to, what I tend to do is block out memory of dates and stuff oh my goodness. Worst trauma, and I've been through some trauma. I could tell you some stories, but this was the worst. And then just last year, I got to say it either matched it or topped it. Um, there are evil people in this world. There are sociopaths, there are psychopaths, there are narcissists, there are people that are mentally ill with other, mental illnesses. They're just plain evil people too. And those are the people that do things to children. Anyhow, I'm getting off on a tangent, but just made me think of something. And it's something that I'm struggling with. So anyway, and that's another thing, just as another side note, and then I'll get to the point, I promise. As these soul wounds surface, as these memories surface, as these different situations surface within ourselves, as you're seeing masks fall around you, because our masks, if you have one, and we all do to some degree, are falling. If you've got nothing to hide, no problem. But other people, you're going to see their masks fall and you're going to be like, holy bejesus, That's why our discernment has to be really on target. And sometimes it's not, and sometimes you're surprised when you see these masks fall, and it hurts. It's a painful time, but it's also a good time. It's a time of cleanse, you know. Um, but as you see this happen, and I just completely lost what I was going to say. It's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. I just posted this on Facebook for those of you that follow me. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to admit that you're not okay. Regardless, you know, I'm preaching to the choir here, okay? Especially when you have a job like mine, or you tend to be the one that's always helping someone else or whatever. When it comes time to admit, hey, I'm hurting, or I'm vulnerable, or I need some help somewhere, sometimes it can be really difficult. And I just want to remind you, I know you already know this, but it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to tell somebody else, hey, yeah, I do need that. What? Yeah, thank you. And for those of us that are trying to help, do me a favor. Listen to what the person needs. Listen to what the person says. Don't just go off and do what you think would be great because it would be helpful to you. That's really disregarding the person as a person. You know what I mean? I know people don't do that on purpose. They do it out of love. But listen to what the person needs. And if you can provide it, provide it. Okay? All right. Done with my side note. Just there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. There is no shame in saying, hey, yeah, I'm not okay. All right. All right. So what do you do if you're dealing with people like this? If you've got something came up and you're feeling, you know, unworthy, or you've noticed that people around you are arrogant, narcissistic, you're caught up in this, what do you do? Well, it's a time to rise up, okay? It's a time to take your power back in general, okay? Sometimes it might be a relationship that you might be actually going through this with another person. If you want to keep the relationship, it's, you know what? Sometimes part of communication is realizing the right time to communicate too. So, especially if you're married, or if it's a parent child, or, you know, siblings, people you really know and love, like, look for the right time. Don't just let it go because it's an uncomfortable situation and you don't want to do it, but look for the right time. Timing is important. Pay attention, listen, try to, you know, look from the other person's perspective, and communication. Okay, that's if you want to keep it together or not. I mean, that's always good. But how do you take your power back? You know, first of all, if it's a soul wound, try to become aware of that. See, that's why introspection and looking at ourselves, and not just trying to go, oh no, I don't want to deal with that, because, you know, sometimes we don't want to look in the mirror. It's harder to do than looking at another person. That's as old as time, right? It's hard for everybody. Even, you know, the nicest person in the world, it's hard for everybody to look in the mirror because we all have something that we don't want to see, right? But if you can see it, admit it, become aware of it, whether it's something that happened to you, something that you've done, something that you used to be, whatever. If there's a soul wound there, your awareness is going to help you, because what soul wounds do, just real quick, I know I've got whole videos about this, but just to reiterate in case you don't know, say your soul wound is unworthiness, and we have other ones, you know, it could be abandonment, it could be almost anything. You will, as your soul wound rises up, it's almost like your internal enemy, right? We actually like call to ourselves or create within ourselves on a subconscious level situations, people, relationships, whatever, that will validate that soul wound. So if you feel unworthy, you're going to start having people in your life that are arrogant, condescending, treat you as if you are unworthy. And the natural reaction, because that's your soul wound, is going to be to shrivel and take that role as the unworthy person. Now, if you've become aware of your soul wound, and one way to do it is look at the cycles in your life, okay? You don't have to go back and relive old memories. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, okay? They'll come up, and they'll come up naturally, and you can deal with them that way. Some people prefer to bring them up. I'm not speaking either way. But what I'm saying is, for spiritual work, you don't have to go back there into the past to do that. Just become aware of this and say, okay, and then start positive positive affirmations spoken aloud. They have to be true, they have to resonate with you, and they have to be short and easy to recall for instant recall so you can speak them aloud, get rid of the negative thoughts. That's one. Two, maintain a spiritual connection, keep your vibration up. Three, the awareness. So once you become aware, half the battle's gone. Because when this stuff starts happening, these cycles, you can go, oh, no, 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 no. That's, no. I don't accept this. This is not mine. I don't own it any longer. It's just my soul wound. It's not validating anything because I know the truth. And go back to your positive affirmations and speak them aloud. It takes work, okay? It takes work. These wounds are deep, but it's simple. You know, people say, how could it be that simple? It is that simple. You know, a lot of people will tell me, oh, I was in this relationship and I just felt for the first time ever that I was worthy of something and he or she made me feel so wonderful. And I've been there. I remember. I remember. My husband was the first person to ever validate. It was the smallest thing, but he validated it. And I didn't realize it till years later why I fell head over heels in love with him, and that's what it was. And when I realized it years later, I also realized that I had never been validated before. So, anyway, yeah, it's like, you know, you look back and you go, what was I thinking? Well, that's what I was thinking. That's what did it. It triggered something in a soul wound in me. And I just like clung to him, like, you know, anyway. So, yeah, you know, capture every negative thought, speak the positive affirmations, really put some effort into your spiritual life and your spiritual growth. Pray, connect. Another thing you can do, take your power back is, like I said, recognize, become aware of who you are, of your soul wounds, things that you regret or that are painful that you've done, or maybe things that people have done to you. Work on forgiveness, okay? And because forgiveness is important, gratitude is important. And then another thing you can do is, like, say there's a situation that's going on. It's related to a soul wound and it's really bothering you. If something's really bothering you, it's either related to a soul wound, it's a shadow of you, it's shadowing you, so it's something within you that you've got to get rid of, because there's nothing that's going to bother you more than something that's shadowing you. So it's a soul wound or it's a shadow. Either way, look, and you know, you can only work on you. You can't change somebody else. So you can only work on you. And one good thing to do is write out that situation. Okay, for instance, on this date, I don't want to say it because I don't want to talk about somebody else without their permission, even though it was a negative thing. But somebody just recently treated me horribly. I want to say, honestly, I've been in relationships. I know. You probably think if you watch my channel, you're like, no, you haven't. But yes, I have. I have 3 children. It's not immaculate conception. I've been in serious relationships. I've been married. This is a man I'm talking about. We're not dating. It's not a relationship like that. It's strictly a business relationship. He doesn't know me personally. I don't know him personally, but he talked to me like even my husband never talked to me. Even my oldest son's father, who was extremely abusive, I don't recall him talking to me like that. Maybe he did, but it was so many years ago. I mean, it was awful. And it brought right back a soul wound. Okay, so a good thing, so if something like that happens, even if it's not that outrageous, but it really kind of hits home and you're like, okay, why is this bothering me so much? Write out the situation. Write it out. Describe it as if you're writing a story. If you're not a writer, if you hate to write, get your little recorder or your phone or whatever device you have and record it, okay? Record it the way that it happened, and then ask yourself, what is my part in this, if any? Because sometimes people are just evil and you don't have a part in it, but sometimes you do. Okay. How did I react? What did I do to maybe provoke, if anything, whatever. What is my part in this? Um, and then, focus on that and focus on anything to be grateful for within the situation. Did you learn something? Did it change you? Whatever. Um, and then, so gratitude, forgiveness, and then rewrite the story. Rewrite the story. Um, did you eliminate the person out of your life in the story if that's what would be the healthiest thing? Like, rewrite it, not necessarily to your advantage, but to the best advantage of everyone involved. Rewrite the story. And then focus on the new story. And that will actually bring about the beginning, the opportunities of the changes to change that story. Okay, try it. Let me know what you think. Um, and you know what? If you're dealing with, if it's a narcissist, sociopath, psychopath, that kind of person, I'd say even some borderlines, depending on how they act, and different personality disorders. Not all borderlines of personality disorders, but if it's somebody that's extremely arrogant, condescending, narcissistic, if they seem to lack empathy, like a sociopath or a psychopath, or many narcissistic personality disorder people, whether they rise to that level or whether they're just arrogant, condescending people, self-centered people, many people that really believe that they, like, I always want to help people. But if they would just stop and listen to themselves in everyday life, they would see that they're pretty self-centered too. Not everybody, not everybody. I'm saying that's why we have to look at ourselves, Have I been self-centered? Have I not listened when somebody's trying to talk to me? Have I made it all about me? If you can change that, even a scenario like that, have I made it all about me? Change it. Do exactly what I told you earlier. Look for the gratitude, the lesson learned, whatever, the gratitude in the friendship or whatever. If there's any forgiveness to be had, do it. Forgiveness is an action, not a feeling. Even if you don't feel it, do it anyway, because the feeling will come later. And that's for yourself or another person, and then rewrite the story. And if you have to, if you're the jerk in the situation, make amends if you can, if it's not going to hurt another person to do so. This is going to help you. This is really going to help you to raise your vibration and clear out any negative, clear out that, I call it cosmic junk. And I'll do a video on that too. I did one several years ago. I'll do another one, updated one. Because you know what? Anybody that knows me and knows how I work, I'll do a session with someone and completely forget what we talked about. And I think that's like God's protection for me of this gift. Because if I remembered everybody's stuff, I'd go out of my mind, right? But what's happening as I get older is I forget even these videos. I forget what I said. People say, oh, I watched your video. And I'm like, yeah, what'd I say? I can't stand to watch myself, so I can't learn from me. But anyway, I know, it's just the way my brain works. But I think it's, I work all day. I don't have really a social life. I do have a couple friends, and of course I have my boys and my grandchildren, but most of my communication throughout the day is work. So I forget. All right, guys, listen. Take care of yourself. Make some goals too. That's a good thing. Make some goals for you. I have to, like I told you before, I started to do a video on my journey, but I haven't posted it yet. I have some repercussions from some illness from many, many years ago going on now. And I've been really sick, as most of you know. It all goes back to that. It's almost like a radiation poisoning or something. But, if you've noticed, my teeth are messed up. I have some goals. I'm gonna reconnect with the people that I love that have been ripped from me, and I'm going to fix me in a physical sense, which I have let go because what I did have, what I could earn, what I've been doing, I've put into everybody else. So I'm still going to continue to do that, but I'm also I've made it a goal, I've made it a plan that I'm going to starting with fixing my teeth. So anyway, and I don't even know why I threw that in there, but I hope you guys are doing well. Try that. Write it out. Write it out. What's your part in the scenario, if any? Could you have done something different? And do it, like I said, even if you think you messed up, it's a good thing to do. If somebody hurts you and it really hurt, it's a good thing to do. And then change the scenario and watch how things change. All right, guys, I know I've talked long enough. It's April 22nd. It's a very, very, very special day for me. One of the, if not the, I can't say the because I have 4 grandchildren, and they're all extremely important to me. But the very latest miracle in my life was born 2 years ago today, and I was there, and I'm so grateful for that. Happy birthday, Riley. I love you. Mimi loves you more than words. The English language doesn't have enough words to explain it. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you have a wonderful evening and stay safe, and miracles for all of you. All right. Talk to you soon.